right, guys, today we have a special treat for you. I am interviewing the one and only Stephanie Beringhele. She runs the ASD Market show. So if you guys are intrigued, if you've been to the show and you want to know more about behind the scenes, today's your day because Stephanie is going to spill all the beans, tell us what happened this year, how everything went, and what to expect for next year. So, Stephanie, tell us a little bit about yourself. Welcome to the pod. Thank you so much for joining us.
So excited to be here. And I got to tell you, did a great job with my last name. Usually I tell people, just call me Mrs. B, because Beringhele it's a mouthful. So you did amazing.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm so happy to be here. So I have a really long title. It's V.I.P, Buyer Relations Director at ASD Market Week. And really what it means is I'm a focal point of educating people on our event and getting them to come out to Vegas 2 times a year so that they can find amazing product and just so that they can learn about the different industries. And so long title, but really I'm just more of a networker connector.
Awesome. And you're also the host of the ASD podcast, right? Let's talk a little shop. Tell us a little bit about that. How did that come together?
Well, it's so funny. No one on my team wanted to do it. And so I'm loud and, in people's faces. So they said you would be perfect. And I just kind of took it on with the idea of we could finally give a face to our clientele and a voice, which is so important because there's so many trade shows out there and we can talk about what's going into the market, but what better way than to really put our clients on camera and just ask them intimate questions of how did you start your business? What do you love about the industry? What do you hate? What are the complications? So I'm really grateful that I got the opportunity to be the host, and we are going to be doing a season 2. We're mapping out all of our guests. And I think we're going to explore even more of the international side, which is something very different for us. So season 2, it's coming your way. I think we're going to be launching in October.
That's exciting. Where can people find the podcast?
So the podcast, if you go to asdonline.com, there is a section that says podcast on the top left corner. Just click it and you can either download it, whether you want to listen, or if you want to go to YouTube, which I know is Damien's favorite source and platform, you can watch and you can see people get really uncomfortable, but then you also see them breathe and they just let loose and they really tell their stories, and it's great.
No, it really is. I had the privilege and honor of being a guest on it. So I don't want to toot my own horn, but it really is a great podcast and everybody should totally check it out. There's some heavy hitters on there. And for season 1, congratulations. There was some really cool guests on there and I learned a lot. I always listen to it. And I got to say, I love the angle you take of trends. I don't think a lot of people talk about trends as much as they should. And I really do appreciate that about the podcast and about you, because I also follow you on LinkedIn and you're always posting cool trends and things to be aware of in the industry. So shouts to you for that. But Stephanie, tell us a little bit more about ASD. What is the show? I always hype it up. I always try to tell people to go because it could be, and it is life-changing for many. From the behind the scenes perspective, why should people go to ASD and what even is it?
So I'm going to quiz you first. Do you know what ASD Market Week stands for? What does ASD stand for?
I do not. I actually tried to look it up before because I did a video on like fun facts about ASD and I couldn't find it.
Most people can't, and we're going to spread awareness today because it started as a military surplus show, right? It was Associated Surplus Dealers. It was back in like 1961. Fletcher founded it. It was actually based in Santa Monica, and then it grew and it evolved, and with everything in the due time, things change. And actually about 8 years ago, we did an internal contest to say, what does ASD stand for today to our clients? And so we landed on affordable shopping destination.
I like it. Yep, definitely like it. Yep, it makes sense. I mean, so you said it started in 1961 as a surplus show, but now it has evolved more into a general merchandise trade show. That's kind of how I see it. There's a little bit of everything for everyone and anyone, from online sellers to retailers to manufacturers to vendors to vape shops to gas stations to Macy's and Best Buy, right? Like anyone and everyone is there.
We are so inclusive, and I take a lot of pride in that because there's no looking down on any type of retail store, whether you're new, you've been in existence for a long time, if you're a discount or if you're a boutique, right? We do a little bit of everything. We've got a lot of chain stores that come through, but our specialty is the diversity of the product that we have, how we create different neighborhoods so that companies can strategically purchase for their storefronts or their e-commerce, or people that just want to look for good deals. I mean, everyone wants value. Everybody wants the best price that they can get for their customers. That's a big thing. We have a little secret where Saturday is our Saturday preview day. And that's where you get to go into the general merchandise section and you just get to find closeouts and liquidated product line. And it's a treasure hunt. And I want to get to that product before my competitors do, because once it's gone, it's gone.
It's gone. It was a one-time deal.
Mm-hmm.
So would you describe ASD as a buying show?
I would say 86 to maybe 96%, those buyers, they're looking to purchase. They want to purchase at the show. They want to make a decision. We have high quality decision makers that come through, and they do it because, again, if they don't make that decision at show, someone else is going to do it. So it's a very important show for those that are in the industry, and especially for the exhibitors, because they know when they go into this market, they have to have their pricing structure. Their booth needs to be very open and visible in terms of what they're showcasing. And it's kind of hard for some of our clients because sometimes in a general merchandise booth, you have everything from apparel to gardening supplies to toilet paper. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. So it's a very big event for the industry.
No, definitely. And that's kind of why we wanted to talk to you today, right? Because I would love for you to kind of give our audience like a behind the scenes look of what does it actually take to put on a monster of a show like this?
So surprisingly, we don't have that big of a team, but we are little and mighty. I'd say there's about 35 of us, and we have sales, we have marketing, we have attendee, we have operations, and really we just all dig in and we work together. So for example, I work on the attendee side, but I talk to exhibitors when I go to competitive shows. I give them the 411 on why they should consider ASD as an added, an enhanced show for them to try, right? And same thing with marketing. Marketing's talking to exhibitors and attendees, but really for 6 months, we are working on collaborating with vendors and with buyers to see what products are relevant for the industry at that specific time. We have to floor plan. It's kind of like a Tetris game where you have somebody who goes, oh, I've got all this extra product and I need to expand my booth. Well, that affects the whole floor.
Yeah.
And that's your neighbors. And we don't want to interfere with longtime clients. So we do our best to just really listen, see what's needed, put everything together, funnel everything through our marketing team, who then hits the market. And they just spread the good word. And it's like Groundhog's Day. We do it over and over and over again.
So just to put it into perspective and context, how big is the Las Vegas Convention Center? Do you know?
In terms of like our overall, we're around 500,000 square feet of product line.
Wow. Whoa.
So it's
That's
big,
a lot of booths.
right? Yeah.
That's a lot of booths. It's a lot of booths to set up and manage.
Amazing products.
That's awesome. So what is the hardest part about running a show like that or putting on a show like that?
I think that, you have so many people that this is their livelihood, this is their business. And for us, we have so many people who have voices and concerns that you're not going to be able to please everybody, and you know that. But you can do the best that you can to make sure that it's an efficiently run market and that people find value of it, and that they leave it saying, not only did I do the business that I needed to do, make the connections I needed to make, but my business is solid and better off because I went there. So I think just being aware of all the different personalities, they come from all over the world, and everyone has a preferred method of or idea of how the show should be run. And really, we have to remember that we're the experts, but we can also take in consideration and then how to make it work for the whole community.
That makes sense. So you keep saying international, and I think you're hinting something here because you were mentioning something when we earlier talked that you guys are expanding, possibly something along those lines.
So internationally, I mean, COVID shut everything down.
Yeah.
And it's a word that we hate to use, but the beauty of it is it really humbled people. Or they'd say, oh, there's a trade show, we'll just go to the next season, right? No big deal. Well, now it's floodgates have opened. So we're seeing large volumes of Canadian retailers coming through. as well as those from Latin America, especially Mexico. And that's just on the attendee side. But when you look at the exhibition side, we've got the source directory that has the international pavilions, and those are growing again. And their business models have changed. So back in the day, if you talked sourcing, you thought MOQs, they're really high, right? But now what they're doing is they're saying, well, what about these boutiques that want to buy internationally and they can't buy that high quantity, and we need to lower it a little bit? They're starting to offer those services. So for us, we look at the big picture and we're putting everything together to make sure that we function as an international trade show.
That's amazing. So not only are you seeing attendees from the buyer side attending, but also more sellers and vendors that are from different countries providing products for America, or are they also looking for those local type of sales?
They're kind of looking for all of it, right? Everyone's in the business to do, you said it, what, money on the buy, right?
Yes, the money's made on the buy, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make money on anything if the buy was bad. It's that simple.
It's a thing. I go to that. I mean, thank heavens you were on my first podcast, because I reference that all the time because it just makes sense. And for the international side, I mean, people are just ready to do business and they've got solid product. And again, they're open. If you've got money to purchase that product, they're going to chat with you and see what kind of terms and conditions they can do to make it work.
So now my next question, this one I'm excited for. You're a big trend person. Would you say the trends are shifting from the US influencing, let's say, Europe, Asia, and Latin America? Or is it more now we're seeing the vice versa, where Europe is a little bit influencing the US market, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard because I think Latin America is really paying attention to what's going on in the US market, and they're finding opportunity for distribution and getting product over by going through Texas and stuff. Like the whole world of mapped out retailing and distribution centers and what's trending, it's in constant shift. But I do know that value is a consistent factor, and it doesn't matter what product line it is. If the product makes sense and it's needed on the daily and it's a great rate, you've got a lot of the dollar stores and more of those discount chain stores. They're performing well.
No, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. And definitely since my time of attending ASD, I have noticed a lot more the liquidation side, the reverse logistics, the closeout guys are starting to creep into that one corner in the West Hall. So can you talk a little bit more about that? Because, our viewers are mostly on the liquidation side of things, the Amazon, Target, Best Buy returns type of deals. Are you seeing an increase in that realm, or?
Totally. And like the bins, right? There's so many companies or buyers that are coming through that are looking for those satisfying deals, those pallets that they can pick up. And I think that our general merchandise section, they're paying really close attention to it to make sure that their next show that they go to has even more product for those to pick up. So great interview with Danny Cole from Cole Imports and Closeouts. 50% of his line that he brought for August was closeout. And he had never done that before. And I mean, when we talk closeout, he's now entertaining categories he never did before because he wants to try it out. And he knows that he can create excitement for consumers when they hit the retailer store, and that they're going to be happy that they get to purchase something where normally if they go to another competitive store, it's way more expensive. So I think that our guys are paying attention, and it's only going to bring more product and more variety for future shows.
No, I agree. And I listened to that podcast with Cole Imports. I call it like a West Hall staple because it's like the minute you walk in through the doors, you just got the green blow up banners and just they're right there in the middle. Whatever that guy has to say, I'm listening. And if he's doing something, I'm probably following that lead. So, well, I'm glad there's going to be more closeouts. I love that there's going to be, more interest in the liquidation side of things. I've always enjoyed it because the scarcity mindset always intrigued me. The fact that, maybe let's say, for example, Cole Imports only has 1,000 units of that one particular item, makes it more scarce, makes it more exciting, gets people riled up. All right, Steph, let's talk more about liquidation because, like I said, that's what our audience wants to hear, right? What are you expecting for next year? Are you expecting more liquidators? Are you expecting more closeout deals to be happening?
100%.
Exciting
so I
stuff.
think that with our crowd, they really lean in on the previous show to see what kind of product people were asking for. And if they didn't have it, they're going to go get it. And they've got the resources where they get to find these gems that are very hard to find but
Mm-hmm.
they just get this liquidated product line that's amazing, and it's all over the place in terms of the product range. So whether you have licensed toys or you get like a really good branded shoe, you just never know what you're going to get when you're at the show, and they're going to reveal it. And if you're a good buyer and you consistently come to the shows, sometimes they'll put stuff on the side for you and just say, hey, I have something for you that I think you're going to really like. Stop by and let's chat. So I say definitely for 2024, you can expect a lot more.
Nice. I love it. That's exciting stuff. But I would like for you to expand on what makes a good buyer. Because I know that I struggle with this a lot. You know, I sell a lot of things to customers and I have my good and my bad buyers, but I would love to hear your opinion on what makes a good buyer a good buyer.
One that fulfills their agreement and pays.
Number one.
Yeah,
Definitely.
good payment history. I mean, the biggest turnoff for exhibitors is if they do everything in their power to make sure that they give you the best deal, they're able to ship it to you within a time frame that's appropriate, that works for you, and they do all these extra things, and then payment gets delayed or you just don't meet the terms. That's a turnoff for them because they've already done all the work and they're so excited that they were able to deliver to their customer. That's a big thing. I think the other thing is a good buyer has the conversations, has the hard conversations. Like,
Mm.
hey, this isn't selling in my store and I need something a little bit different. What do you have, right? Like, walk me through your product. Here's who's shopping my bin, or here's who's shopping my store, whatever it is. I would say have those hard conversations with these exhibitors because they want you to be successful, because if you're successful, you're going to come back and they
Sure.
want that repeat buyer.
No, definitely. And communicating and giving that feedback, right, on what worked, what didn't. Let's continue this relationship so we can both
Yep.
make money. No, that makes sense. Okay, stemming off of that, for 2024, anything new cooking that our buyers can be excited about? Anything that you receive feedback from, maybe from your vendors, that you would like to pass on to people attending the show?
So I
Loaded
think
question, two-parter, I
I
think.
know. Well, first off, in 2024, you better look at those maps at the convention center because we are changing all of the halls. There's major construction going
Ooh.
on at the LVCC, and that's not a bad thing because with that, we get to reimagine how the show is going to be. And we get to have our highlighted area of closeout liquidated product line over in South Hall again, which is where they were
Ooh.
accustomed in the past. But we got them on the first level floor, and it gives them an opportunity to really relook at how they set up their booth and their events and how they sell everything. So make sure you look at your maps. We will guide you through it so that you get to the right hall and you don't waste your time, because time is money and you want to hit those main booths, especially with the product that you're looking for specifically, before you go on the discovery phase. So I would say that. And there's some clients that are finally coming back. Maybe they've been gone for 4 years, right? Or 5 years, that have just been out of the game. They've been doing business as usual at their warehouses. They want to hit the market. It's time for them to pick up some new buyers, which is great. It's great for the buyers that come through because they get to shop it, but also there's fresh new product that hasn't been on there and new exhibitors that haven't been there in a long time, which is great.
That's exciting. So new layout, new
Mhm.
exhibitors, more exhibitors, and a new layout will kind of force people to explore more and maybe
Yeah.
not go to that one corner or that one section that they're used to going. Now it kind of forces your hand to get out of that one spot and search around, and maybe you'll stumble across something that you wouldn't even think about exploring. So that's
It's
exciting,
that
definitely.
treasure hunt. Yes, it's so funny. There was a company called Bumpbox, and they do old school, think nostalgic, like boom boxes, right? And they had them spray painted and graffitied. Like, you wouldn't be able to find them had you not been going row to row. They were brand new.
Hmm.
Just awesome product, cool pricing.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Especially
So
that it's a
I think
product
you
that
nailed
you
it.
it's very like it's not, it's specific. Like you're not looking for clothing, right? Like it's not a category that you're searching. It's just like a really cool one-off product that would probably do well in any store that you put it in,
Yeah.
right? Is there any maybe tips and tricks that you could kind of pass on to the buyers on how to navigate the show most efficiently? Because I know for a fact that I've tried to do this whole show. I've been there like 5, 6 times now. I haven't walked it like the full thing in one show once yet. So any tips and tricks to kind of help navigate that?
Prep work. Yep. I definitely recommend you got to hit up. We've got a vendor directory and the exhibitors do such a good job. They will highlight show specials. So if
Mhm.
you're looking for really good pricing on product, that's what I would hit up first. But really, you want to map out your must hit, right? Like, I
Mhm.
got to go see these people because they carry the inventory and I want to see what they have before it's gone. Like you were talking about earlier, there's that fear. If it's scarce, once it's gone, it's gone. So you want to make sure that you hit your top vendors first. Then you got to put in like the whole discovery phase, and you can do that before you even hit the floor. And so once you map that out and you know like you're open to buy and all that kind of stuff, you just have to hit those marks and then add in if you want to do a workshop or you want to go to a seminar, make sure you put that in and that you're aware of time, because when you get on the floor, sometimes you just get lost and all of a sudden
Oh
it's
yeah.
6 o'clock and I'm hungry and
And I did 35,000 steps in one
yeah.
day. No, definitely. So, I mean, I love that what you said about the prep work. I think that's super important. I know that to me, that was probably the biggest game changer. After the first one, I kind of,
Yeah.
just went over there and didn't really prepare and thought, we'll see what this is all about. And I did not see or hit as many booths as I would like to. But for the next show, I did exactly what you just said, looked at the directory, made my top 10. I have to see these people like I have to. It's a no option. And then once you're done with them, you can kind of go and explore, right? Another pro tip that I would like to add personally is message or email those vendors beforehand. Hey, I will be in Vegas the same days you will be in Vegas, attending the same trade show you will be attending. Is there any way we can set up a meet? Is there any way maybe I can take you out for a beer or a dinner or whatever? Can we grab lunch, or can I meet you at your booth at a specific time? Would love to have some one-on-one. And I know for me, that worked out really, really well. People respond well to that. It's a lot easier to do business or maybe sell somebody if you know them, because then they can look into your company, they can look into your store, they can look into whatever you're looking for and help you find that right product fit, right? If they're just shooting blindly and they don't know who you are, it's going to be it's going to take longer to figure out what you really need. So that's my pro tip.
You nailed it. I always like, so when you're at the house, right, I have that no soliciting sign on it. Like, don't
Oh,
you
yep.
dare knock on my door unless you have a purpose or I know who you are, right? So if you're going to any trade show, make the connections beforehand. It's that warm invite of, I've seen your product, I'm so excited to meet you and do business. And that's what it's about. It's about networking and really presenting yourself out to people that don't know who you are. So love it.
Let's talk about networking. I'm glad you brought that point up, because truth be told, that is exactly why I attend the show. I do buy, but not as much as I probably should, because I spend 95% of the time just talking with people and just trying to learn from them and about them and see what they do and how they do it. Networking. Why is it important, and how does ASD help with it?
I mean, it is the one place you get to talk to such a diverse group of people. And it's so important to your business because you could be talked to a competitor, you can get some ideas from them. If you have questions about a product that you've never, sold before, you get to ask those questions with somebody. And I think that like for networking, we've got events that happen outside of the show floor too, which is really fun. And that's where you really get to know people
Mm-hmm.
because you're finally relaxed and you've been working all day. And it's like you crack open that beer or whatever your drink of choice is. I'm a wine girl, but you
Water.
get to have a good time. Water? Are you water?
No.
Awesome.
I'm a beer person, definitely.
I was gonna say, I don't know, Damien.
Sorry to cut you off. I just had to.
Yeah, I mean, so I would say my biggest recommendation is because a lot of people won't announce that there are a network, or if they do, they don't go through us all the time. But
Hmm.
if you go on social and you hashtag ASD Market Week, all those things will funnel up, and all of a sudden they'll be like, "Hey, there's a meetup on this," or if like you're on LinkedIn, same thing. So I would say look at those hashtags and see what groups that you're interested in meeting with, and there's going to be lots of flyers and invitations out. And then just find a friend and go hit one of them up and see what it
Oh yeah.
yields. Like, because there's nothing to lose.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, those meetups and those networking events are money, people, money. Like that is literally where you are going to get the best deals and make the best connections, because people feel a little bit looser. They're not, at the trade show anymore. They're in a more calm environment, probably with a beer, glass of wine in their hand, and they're willing to talk a lot looser than they would at the show, right? Where you have, let's say, 300 people listening versus just you and them. So definitely great advice. Have you seen I would say an upstick in networking events, or has it just been like, does ASD put on networking events, or is it more like rogue events?
So we have an opening night party, or we do one party, but that's more for the ones that want to come out and just let loose and go to a nightclub.
Oh, that's right.
I'm
Yes,
usually
yes, yes.
really
You guys have a
tired.
club night. Mm-hmm.
But we do that, and then we do like meetups at the seminar stations if like you're really interested in meeting like a keynote or something like that. So we've got more of the education, and more, ours is more during the show. I would say some of the coolest networking events, again, they happen organically through the community. Whether
Mm-hmm.
you go over to Westgate and there's a group that's plotting something over there, I mean, they're all over town. They're in unique venues. But again, that the hard part is finding it. So you have to do the work and you have to do the hashtags and stuff. It's something that in the future we want to work more collectively with the community so that we could just do like a bulletin and just broadcast everything and create awareness and put it on our social too. So if you're doing any events out there, hit us up. We want to help promote you because we love all of it.
Definitely. And then because it helps out everybody, right? The
Mhm.
buyers, the sellers, the event hosts, everybody wins in the networking situations. I've met some really, really, really great individuals at ASD. And honestly, more of it was done at like random networking events than anything else, right? Because you got to consider you have thousands of people that are like-minded individuals that are doing probably something very similar to what you're doing. And they're there to make friends,
Mhm.
make connections, just kind of pick each other's brains, see how we can work together, see how we can help each other, right? So, no, definitely couldn't agree more. I think the networking events are superb. But you did mention the speakers and keynote events. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we partnered with independent retailer, but the difference of the topics are all over the place. Like it's so good. And what happens is that depending on the topic, your tribe just comes over to that particular session. So
Hmm.
when you scan the seminars, pick the ones that are important to you, your business, your interests, and that's where you're going to find your community and your future friends, right? Because when you're sitting there, it takes a couple of minutes for it to start. So everyone's sitting down and it's really easy. Hey, where are you from? I see you're from Arkansas, or whatever it is. What kind of store do you have? It makes it so that it's not that cold sale or anything like it.
Yeah.
You're in good company and it just opens up the dialogue, and that's really where you get to meet people and have those conversations, and then you get to learn through the session, whether it's I had a keynote speaker, Derek Gaskins from Yesway. He
Okay.
was amazing, and he was talking about the business model of saying yes to your customers and the yes way of doing business. So as a business owner or an entrepreneur, you might just get inspired. Maybe they have
Hmm.
nothing to do with what you do, right? Let's say you have a liquidated line, whatever, they might have nothing to do with your convenience store guy, right? But they might inspire you to be the best business owner that you can be. So I would say look at those seminars, see who's speaking, see what topics, and then don't be shy. Say hi to the person to the right, the person to the left, and make some friends.
No, I couldn't agree more because you guys always got to remember everybody's in the same shoes. They're in the same boat as you are. They are in Vegas, somewhere out of their comfort zone at a trade show. Most of them don't really know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
They just know that there is something here and there's something to be said about that because if everybody's in the same boat, it just makes it that much easier to connect, right? And like you said, just start nudging people. Hey, where are
Yeah.
you from? What are you doing here? Oh, blah 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 blah. I've met people at the Dunkin' Donuts line at the food court. Like I honestly like hung out with hundreds of people at that lunch, like the food court lunchroom area, just because everybody's in the same boat. You're at a trade show by yourself having lunch. You're tired. You just want to drink a coffee and eat some salad. But why not use the time to network and talk as well, right? So yeah, meeting people all over the place has always been
Mhm.
a big plus of ASD. All right, we're starting to wrap up here, but I got one more question because this one's my favorite because I know that ASD is huge. It is a massive trade show, and there's a lot going on in those 3 to 4 days that everyone's in Vegas. So, any features of the show, anything that you think that our buyers or vendors are missing out on that you would kind of like to promote and maybe encourage people to take part in?
I think all the pre-marketing that we do a really good job of curating these emails that talk about important events that are happening at the event. We highlight new vendors. We do our OGs and everything.
Mhm.
So I would say I know our emails get really heavy, but take a look at it because you're going to find things, and then you can really, when you look at your agenda or your strategy to hit the market, you're going to organically be able to pull from this and that and have a better time. So I would say look at those emails and all the communication that happens prior to the show. And then when you're at the show, hit every aisle. Don't miss one because there's gems everywhere. And that one aisle you might decide to skip on might have the best deal on that whole entire show floor that you didn't even know was possible within this market. So hit every floor after you do your prep work and everything.
No, yeah. And I actually have a great example of that because for the first like 2 years, I did not step a foot in that other hall with like all the tobacco stuff and the convenience
Oh,
store
yeah.
things. And then I went over there and I'm like, this is amazing. This is so cool. And we started walking around, yada, yada, started talking to a booth. And Lord behold, they have thousands of lighters that they need to get rid of. So we found a new vendor and became their liquidator and just started buying up their lighters and flipping the lighters. So perfect example of what you just talked about. Just do not discriminate. Go to every aisle, see what's out there, because that's what you're there for, is to kind of open up your mind and not do what you're used to doing, but get out of that comfort zone, get a little discomfortable, and run to those new vendors or opportunities. Any last minute tips and tricks for attendees? What can they expect for 2024? Any tips and tricks?
2024, again, new campus. So there's lots to explore. So get ready to get out of your comfort, as you should, because you're going to start exploring all this different product. And again, I think for 2024, there's going to be a lot more closeouts because that's what we keep hearing in the market. It's all about that value. So it's liquidated product line. It's really good deals. And the deals aren't just in general merchandise. If you go over to beauty section or the alternative lifestyle or C-store, somebody's always got some kind of inventory that they're looking to clean house. They got to get it out of their warehouse so they can get new inventory in. So they might negotiate a deal that you just, again, never thought was possible. So have those conversations and get ready for some fun. Hit up the swag store. You can win lots of prizes, even a Louis Vuitton. We do two giveaways a day. Yes. And they're like big ones. They're these big, beautiful bags so you can resell it. No.
It's gonna be on eBay by the time I leave the show. That's awesome. That's amazing. I honestly had no idea about the giveaways. So see, you live and you learn. I had no idea about the giveaways. I will definitely be checking those out next time I attend. But when is the next show?
So it's going to be March 10th, 11th, and 12th. It'll be at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And again, before the 10th is that 9th, and that is the Saturday preview day that I spoke of earlier. That is where you're going to find some amazing deals before the show officially opens. So if you can make it a little bit early, might want to check out that day in particular.
Yeah, you just kind of spilled my very deeply held secret. That is the best day to go. The Saturday preview day is probably the best day for liquidation, just because it is the scarce product. If the vendor only has a certain amount of units, it's probably going to be snagged up on that Saturday preview day. So that is a great tip. If anybody's going to take away anything from what we just talked about for about 45 minutes here, it's that. But anything else you'd like to add, Stephanie? Let's wrap up. Thank you all so much for sticking around. And anything else?
No, just a big thank you. And Damien, we're going to get fun and creative because I know you and I talked about doing live content at future shows. So I think we got to show people what deals are on the floor and get the camera out and go on a little scavenger hunt or something. So I think you and I can come up with something.
We're going to Vegas. Conrad's excited. He hasn't been to Vegas yet. He was supposed to go to the last show, but something happened.
No.
Yeah,
you gotta come to Vegas.
We'll definitely be there. So, guys, thank you all so much for sticking around and listening to the interview with the one and only Stephanie from ASD Market Week. Like she said, we will be in Vegas March 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th for the next show. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a great time. There's going to be deals to be made and trends to follow, right?
That's
Check
right.
out
Always.
Stephanie's podcast, guys. That is a goldmine filled with gems. What is it, Stephanie?
Let's talk a little shop, and you can find it on ASD or YouTube. Just go to any of the ASD channels, and you'll see my face with somebody else's face. It's a fun time.
Definitely check her out, check them out, and follow us all on LinkedIn. And make sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video because it's awesome. So thank you all so much. See you guys next time. And Stephanie, a round of applause for you for being here with us today.
Thank you, Damien.
Thank you.